start. So, hello everyone, on our presentation titled Pytest on steroids. Today we're gonna talk about Pytest, that is a really popular tool for testing in Python, but yeah, this is obvious. And we're also gonna show some way how easy it is to customize Pytest and how to do it. We prefer to write code rather than making slides, so you can expect some live demo during the presentation. Yeah, so I think that's it. My name is Kamil Kania. I'm working as SDET at Splunk. Yeah, I have some previous Splunk. I got some telecom experience in companies like Ericsson or Nokia. Currently, I'm doing with CI/CD on GitHub and GitLab, yeah, and I like to make my life easier, so I'm a big fan of automations, and I believe Python is a great tool to do it. And now let's meet Łukasz.
Okay, welcome everyone. My name is Łukasz Łoboda, and I also work in Splunk together with Kamil in the same team. We are heavily using Python and Pytest. I was using Pytest actually in my previous companies a lot, and during the new project I saw some new enhancements, some tricks which we can use in Pytest to be more efficient and easier to use, and we will try to show you some of the things from that. One fun fact about Splunk from yesterday: I have this hoodie from our Splunk conference, and actually two people started the conversation completely the same way. They approached me and asked if I work in Splunk. I said yes, and they said, "Oh, I use Splunk, it's very expensive." That was it. I suppose. I hope it's gonna be I use Splunk, it's very nice or something like that, or at least I use Splunk, it's very expensive but great. But unfortunately it wasn't this way. So yeah, probably Splunk is very expensive, but it's also very powerful and probably a complex tool to use. But you know how to set up, it's very nice. You know about Splunk, and now about Pytest, so maybe a question. How many of you use Pytest at least once? That would be expected. And how many use fixtures? Yeah. And how many know how to write a plugin, like Pytest plugin for your own? Basically what we expected. So I'm going to start with fixtures, because this is like the starting point, but also can be used in like more sophisticated way. Yeah, usually when we start using Pytest, we write first test, maybe second test, and then we start to use fixtures. So this is like the first thing. But the nice thing is that we can check all the fixtures available for us only with the fixture parameter for Pytest, and already we can see that already in Pytest itself there are a lot of fixtures built in. Some of them are really nice. For example, cache allow to cache values between the test runs. So we can build on top of that some logic. For example, if we have some flaky tests, we can build a logic to get to know which test is flaky, and then do something with that, make a rerun or something. There are some plugins actually doing that. But of course, we can also extend for our use case the logic. Also, if the test is taking a lot of time, we can get the know from example from that. There are a lot of cool stuff for extend your reporting stuff after the test run. Record property gives us opportunity to record some values for the test reports and all that stuff. Nice thing is also this all temp-dir, temp-path fixtures, which creates a temporary directory for testing. So if you want to test some function with connected to files or directories, we can use that. It's going to be cleaned up after the test. It's also very useful. Catalog is capturing the logs from application execution, so we can, for example, check if the logging was correct. Monkey badges, yeah. Says exploit. Yeah, and here are the built-in stuff. For some, you can see the scope, very important thing, and one of the key stuff about the fixtures, which defines how broad we want it to be. And then we can see that here are another sections. So these are like extensions for Pytest. They are not built in, but they are given from some third-party libraries. For example, this is from Pytest coverage. This is built on the coverage library, which can give us the coverage of our code by test, very useful stuff. But also it is giving some fixtures we can use. So for example, we don't want to cover some code or something, don't use some tests to measure that. We can add this one, there's another one, not so obvious. And also for other plugins, very popular Pytest HTML, which is generating this nice HTTP wrapper. It's also giving some fixtures. And yeah, at the bottom there is like fixtures defined from Pytest, and this is actually the local plugin in the Pytest nomenclature. So everything which is in Pytest file, probably you're all familiar with that. We can create the Pytest file along with our tests, and every fixture which is there or Pytest full function which is there is like automatically being used. We don't have to import the fixtures from there. And I have some 5 fixtures there. There we created some very simple application just for presentation, just to show tests. And there are 5 fixtures which can be used. Adding doc strings give us nice description here, and there is also the location of each fixture. So this is one nice command just to get know what do we already have. Another one is actually when we're gonna use help for Pytest. Yeah, there are a lot of options, a lot of customization, and a lot of stuff which we can use. Yeah, some of them are very popular, like -k, -m, just to run part of the test suite. Some of them are more sophisticated. They are already being divided by reporting, logging stuff. This is something to make it easier to navigate. Also, these third-party plugins are giving additional options. It's possible, for example, our plugin which we created, Pytest Splunk, is also giving some options we can use. We're gonna show it later. And there is also Pytest ini. I don't know if everyone are aware about this file. If we want to, by default, run some commands additional with the Pytest command, we can create this Pytest ini file in the project, and yeah, add some stuff which are only for this file. So it cannot be passed directly from the command line, but it can be defined with the Pytest ini. And also all other options can be added there. So if we have a project and the running test or running Pytest is kind of complex, it's better to put this to the Pytest ini for some people, just to be easier to run. It's just gonna go to the project, run the Pytest command, and everything is gonna be added there automatically. Okay, so this was from the command line, and now I'm gonna go to PyCharm and show some cases. As I mentioned, we have very simple application, only to show the test cases basically. The idea is very simple, was to create the application which is gonna make the HR department life easier, and the use case was scheduling trainings for the newcomers. We have 4 modules: department, employee, location, and the training scheduler which is doing the logic. We can have a new employee which is its own department and in different location, and we want to schedule a training for them. So there are 4 modules, and we have some YAML files with the department definitions. The name is the name of the file. And inside there are required trainings and some logo just for presentation purposes. And a similar thing for the locations, like the location is the name of the file. There are rooms in every location. The convention was to create rooms with the other city on the same kind of name. There are some available hours for scheduling trainings and the capacity. And yeah, this is like the application itself, and we have some tests for that. We have large and small tests. All of them have the Pytest file and some tests. And yeah, maybe hide this one to be clear, and I'm gonna start with the small tests. This is only for 1 module. First 2 tests are very simple. They are using the employee fixture. They are using the same one, and basically are checking if the field is correctly set up for this. I'm going back actually for the fixture later. But the third test is probably the basic example of the parameterization in Pytest. We can add Pytest mark parameterized decorator here, and here we can define additional parameters for the test and make like from one test make the execution for different parameters. So when we're gonna run this, we actually have 3 tests here, and for each of parameters there are information here what the parameters were, and everything is passing. One nice parameter you can add here is IDs. So these IDs are giving, like, if you want to have different information, not like only these parameters, we can add our own like description. And when we're gonna add that and run it again, we can see that there is like this case 2, case 1, as I did it here. Here, case 2, case 1, case 2, case 2. Actually, it's gonna not gonna be like this. It's gonna be like to 0 and to 1, because this is not only for the description, but it's actually the internal ID for the test. Pytest is like heavily using that to navigate through all the tests, so this is like kind of important for that. So not only like for showing here, but this is actually internally ID, and during the using Pytest hook functions, we can do something with that, but the ID has to be a unique thing. And here is another example, kind of with the parameterization, but also with one additional parameter, is indirect set to true. So usually when we put here these two like strings, they are names of parameters for which we want to have parameters, and they are used in test. But when we're gonna use this indirect option, it's actually, here is the name of the fixture, and this is also the name of the fixture. So here we can go, it's employee data, and I have a fixture here, and I'm passing the parameter through the parameterization using this built-in request fixture, and using request param, I can get the parameter from there. And this is actually using another fixture, which is defined on top of it. And here is the example of parameterization of the like direct fixture parameterization. So for here I have 4 different parameters for this one fixture, and every time for each test, when I'm gonna run this, it's gonna be run for this 4 collection of values. So this test is using beneath that this fixture, which has like 4 different values, or it's parameterized by 4 different values. And here are also like 4 values. So we are expecting to have like 16 text actually. And here when we are using this indirect true, all these values has to be fixtures. So I have another fixture just to return value, not do anything with that, just return the value, and this is done like this. And this is kind of useful when we want to have some more dynamic parameterization, or sometimes when we want to have one very general fixture, but we need to have some parameters. For example, I don't know, address of the database or something like that, like this. It can be very useful in such cases. And yes, now I want to go back to this first examples, and there is another fixture. And here I want to show how to do the setup and teardown with fixtures. Sometimes it's not very clear with Pytest how to do it. In Unittest there are specific functions for setup and teardown. And here we can do it kind of different way, but we can also do it with fixtures and like the very frequent use. And the scope is very important, because if we have a scope set to session, the fixture is going to be run like before the test only once. Here the yield statement is important, because before the yield we can treat it as a setup, and everything after that kind of like a teardown. Here I'm using some also internal stuff just to define the teardown function. It can be done with this internal request fixture and with add finalizer, and here we have to define the function. And just to show how it works, I'm gonna run all the tests, all the small tests. There are 21 of them. And at the end, we can see this log message from this turn down function. And at the beginning, yeah, there is a setup. This is only the scope is session, so it has been run only once. And I want to show it one thing. Sometimes we can do it this way. So I'm gonna put here tear down after yield, and when I'm gonna run it, it's gonna work kinda the same. So first we have this message, and then we are going to this add finalizer stuff. But there is maybe small difference, like when we are thinking what to use, what is better. For example, if we are creating some file, or again this connection to the database. If, for example, here we're gonna have some exception because something was not right in the setup. When I run it again, yeah, the test failed, but this is like not the most important thing. When I go to the bottom of the execution stuff, okay. Now only the stuff from this teardown from the add finalizer was added. So this is important in some cases because sometimes you actually want this is kind of like a finally block, so it's gonna be executed always. So this is the, I would say, the better way of doing teardowns with fixtures. Okay, delete the stuff, and the last thing I want to show you from this test is like another way of parameterization. I would say more complex. Here I have a large tests. There were like small tests, only like unit test testing each module, and in this large test we actually want to check if check the scenarios if we hire like 3 people in one department, if it's gonna be possible to fit the rooms for them to have trainings. And here I have one test which is parameterized in the way we did it already, so kind of simple. And here I have 2 tests which I mark like as with dynamic, and yeah, we can add our own markers to make tests more readable, or we can do something with these markers. But yeah, this is only for the like information purposes. And actually here I'm using 3 different for this test I'm using 3 different fixtures. And when I'm gonna try to find them, I'm using this pie chart stuff to navigate through code, and I want to go to the fixture definition, and yeah, it's not finding it. It's only finding like the evocation of that in the test itself. And when we go to the conf test, there is no implementation of this fixture. But when I'm gonna run this test, it's actually like 42 tests being run there. There are no like implementation of these fixtures, and yeah, I'm gonna show now what is actually happening here. In conf test, I have some Pytest hook functions. So the hook functions are basically all the functions which are starting with Pytest underscore. There are really a lot of them. The Pytest is built on the way that we have set of functions. They are in the given order. They are always being run in the given order, and we can like add our own implementation for each of these functions. It's not overwriting this function, but actually adding another thing to run on the given step. And this one is being run after a few others which were run previously doing other stuff. And these functions are generating the tests. It is getting some information from Pytest. And here I'm getting information about the fixture names. So I'm looking for the specific fixtures, and I'm doing some stuff with that, and I'm actually doing the parameterization here. And what I'm doing is like checking all the locations and getting the information from there for which locations I would like to create tests. Here I'm defining the number of employees, how many of them I would like to create tests for. So we can add like 4 here. It's gonna create another set of tests. So for now it was 42, and when we're gonna run it, it's gonna be a 63. This one is rather crude, but of course we can do some manipulations here. With the departments, there is a combination of two. So we have 3 departments defined XML, like HR, finance, and IT. So it's gonna be a combination always HR, finance, IT, finance, and this kind of stuff. And using that, this test was like heavily parameterized. Let's put it this way. And there are also another tests using the same fixtures, and they're gonna be like parameterized in the same place. So they're gonna be run with the same values of parameterization. And yeah, I'm gonna check the time. Yeah, I have still some minutes. So I'm gonna talk about this hook functions. This actually is our local plugin. So everything which we're gonna put here is treated by Pytest as a local thing and is being used automatically. And there are other stuff which we are using. Pytest collection modify items is giving this functionality of failing or ignore test, because there we already have the all list, and we can add some exceptions there, or make some logic. And actually, moving this part to third-party library for other people to use is like this external plugin which we can know from a lot of usages, and I showed it previously. And I'm now going to pass to Kamil. He's going to talk more about the plugin itself.
Okay, so we're going to switch, and maybe in the meantime, maybe do you have an idea why Pytest is so easy? We thought that Pytest is so easy to do some modifications, and maybe you have an idea why Pytest is so easy to modify. No, that's fine. I didn't know it as well, but I found this information in documentation. Yeah, Pytest has some nice, decent documentation, and yeah, the reason for it is because Pytest is a set of plugins. So everything in Pytest we can name this plugin, and this is the reason why we can extend its behavior so easily. And yeah, I put some information why it is this way. Plugin supports it. It's a core of plugin management and book calling for Pytest. Yeah, and something about writing plugins. Yeah, as Łukasz already mentioned, if you put anything in context, any fixture, you already created a local plugin. Yeah, plugins can be divided into 2 groups. Some of them provide for us some fixtures that we can use in our testing, or plugins that modify somehow Pytest behavior, or combination of both. So here is an example from documentation how it works. If we put something to some directory, it's available for all tests from this directory and some directories, but it doesn't. It's not available outside this directory. Yeah, there is a lot of hooks that we can use and extend its behavior for all levels of testing, from bootstrapping to reporting. And here is some huge list what hooks we can extend. And yeah, I think there is a lot of space to do your own modifications. Yeah. Also, yeah, Pytest is a set of plugins, and we can add our modifications, and we can as well install some third-party plugins. So maybe for some reason we would like to control the order, the sequence, how those hooks are executed, so we can do it as well with some parameters like try first or try last. Also, if you would like to do some stuff at the beginning and the end, it's also possible with this hook wrapper parameter. Yeah, we are not limited to existing hooks. We can as well write a new hooks and add them to Pytest, and it will work. Yeah, I put here some information. There is 1,007 external plugins for Pytest, and yeah, so there is a lot of them, and they are easy to use. They can be installed just like any other Pytest library with vim or some other tool. Yeah, I would like to describe two examples of external plugins. One of them is Pytest Lovely Docker. Yeah, this plugin actually doesn't change Pytest behavior. It provides some fixtures that we can use in our testing. So yeah, at the beginning at the beginning of our testing we can just run some Docker containers, yeah, do our testing, and later we can finish them. Another interesting Pytest plugin is Exist. Yeah, this is a very complicated plugin, but description is very well. If you very short. If you would like to speed up your testing, maybe you would like to do it in parallel. So with Exist you can use a few threads and run your tests in parallel. And this plugin is very interesting. It adds some new hooks as well and modify existing hooks. So there is a complicated plugin, but we are using it in our daily testing, and it works, and it makes our life easier because it speeds up our testing. Yeah. So even if you would like to start with your Pytest plugin, external one, there is even a tool that can generate a template for you. It's Cookie-Cuter, and with those two commands executed, you can just execute them, and it will create for you some template that you can easily use. Yeah, I think it's time for some demo about local plugin. So yeah, I'm using exactly the same application as Łukasz showed, and in Conftest, yeah, I have my test in tests large directory, and here I have my Conftest file, and here I added one hook. It's Pytest adoption, and with this hook we can add a new parameter to Pytest. We can yeah. So maybe let's start with running this test. So we can just run them. Yeah. For now we can see that 19 tests are failing, 40 are passing, but that's fine. Yeah, it works as intended. And now we can check what is in Pytest help. Is this parameter visible there? I hope it is. Yeah. Here is this job scene. This is this group, and here you can see this. Here this is this parameter name and some description we put here. And I haven't done nothing to achieve it, just create this contest. And maybe what's what is interesting here, as you can see, we provided path to test. And what happens if we have, if we just put this information in our main directory? Yeah, it won't be visible here, but maybe to show it better, we can grab for this information. So yeah, for this path where this contest is put it's available, and in the main directory it's not available. Yeah, and this is something what we have seen a few slides before from the Pytest documentation. Maybe what's also interesting, I can just create a new contest file too here. Yeah. Keep this. I'm lazy, so I will just copy paste. Yeah, I can here add a new group and a new Python para. Let's have. Here the Python para and some nice description. I'm not sure if it will work, but yeah. So let's check what Pytest can do now. Oh, yeah. I'm not sure if you are impressed, but at least I tried. And one more thing, is it available for test in test large directory? How do you think?
Yes.
Yes.
Let's check. If you are right. Yeah, that's true. It's here. Let me check. Yeah. I think, yeah, I can show you another usage of hook functions. For now, or maybe I should show you first how to use this parent that I already created. So as Łukasz told before, in this application we have some YAML files where we defined some rooms and some departments. Yeah, and when I just run Pytest large, yeah, some of them are failed. It's because there is no available rules for our trainings, but I created some extended location. Here I added some extra rooms. So yeah, using this YAML files, it should be possible to schedule trainings for all new employees. So let's put here this path to this file, jobs team extended, and yes, now our tests are passing because we are using different files, and yeah, for this reason we used some new parameter, and yeah, I think it's very useful to do it in this way, to just explicitly say what path should be used. Yeah, so if we have time, we can show another example of hook functions. Here, for example, maybe for some reason we know that there is no new employees at the same time for finance and HR departments, so we can just skip those tests. And yeah, to do it, we can just write Pytest collection modify items hook, and now we should have some skip tests. Now all tests where we had people from finance and HR departments were skipped. Yeah, maybe we think that there is no reason to do it. Yeah, I think it's all about this local. No, we can take the slide. Yeah, as Łukasz already mentioned, we are working at Splunk, and Splunk is a very powerful tool. And but in a nutshell, it allows you to collect your data, and in Splunk you can do some. You can store this data. You can search for this data. You can do some analysis or other visualization. Why we started thinking about creating Pytest plugin? Because we were a bit forced to, and we would like to make our life easier, because on our daily basis we are maintaining over 90 projects. They are developed on GitHub, and those projects have a lot of test cases, and they are being run on GitHub, GitLab, and it's very hard to maintain it all. There was no one place to check if everything is correct. And we thought that such tool will speed up our work, and we would have more time for football or something like that. And we knew that Splunk, we are working in Splunk, so we can have free Splunk. Just need to some tool to send our data there. And one more thing, we didn't want to modify those tests to have something. We didn't want to modify that. We have tests written in Pytest. Very often they are also dynamically parameterized, like Łukasz presented. So such plugin sound perfect for us to put some extra arguments, and it will work for us to send this data to Splunk. So I think we have now some demo about our. Here's my presentation. Okay. So here I can find this Splunk. And it works as a Pytest plugin. We can just put some few parameters, and then after our testing, our results will be sent to Splunk instance that we provide. And here you can see those parameters. Some of them have some default value because they are most likely are the same values. So for now we need to just provide this parameter, and so this Splunk instance where we are storing Splunk and some token that we are authorized to send data to Splunk, and basically that's it. Yeah, of course, before testing, we are installing this plugin, like every other library. We are thinking about going open source. For now, it's still under development, but I hope in a few weeks or more, maybe we will put it on PyPy as well. At least that's a plan. So yeah, I have already installed this tool here. Yeah, it's Pytest Splunk here, so those parameters are available. So we can run exactly the same test as before. Yeah, we can just move this Pytest. Let me copy. Not too much. It's I think Python. I already have it in my history. So yeah, I'm running exactly the same test, but I'm providing a few parameters more just to make our plugin working, and I think it should make it work for me. Yeah, these tests are executed now, and the data is being sent to Splunk. So we can go back to presentation. Yeah, we provided a Splunk instance for this purpose. This is the address and credentials. Feel free to take a photo or write it down. You can get familiar with Splunk and check by yourself what we did. I can give you 1 minute. Yeah. In 1 minute, we also I will also show you Splunk and our results. Okay. So this is the login page and all admin Pytest. Yeah, and at the beginning we can check for our events. Yeah, time is right. So those are results from our testing. They are already here, and yeah, to have some better view of our testing, we provided some dashboards. Here we can choose what period we would like to see. Let's stay with 7 days. Here we can check if you would like to see runs from GitHub, GitLab, or from local executions. Let's choose GitHub. We have only one project. Basically the same that we were showing today, and we can check how one of our branches works, and or all of them. And here you can see some graph with aggregated info, how many tests were passed, skipped, or failed per each day. And here you can see list of commits and how many of tests failed per each commit. So if you can easily find some commits that broke some tests, and as well as this one that fixed those tests. If you choose one specific commit, let's go with this latest one. Yeah, we have test suite, let's check all, and test session just in case we make some reruns. You can see here some conclusion, how many tests were run, how many of them were passed, failed, etc. And here you can also see list of this failed test. And when you check one of them, we are also sending some information for Pytest why this test failed. And so with this information, it's easier to find similar cases in the past. And I think basically that's it. Now, Łukasz is more than happy to answer all of the questions.
Thank you guys. That was amazing. So we do have some questions. So first of all, why use like theme in Python?
Yeah, I like this one. Actually, we heard that it's better for the presentation, especially when we are showing like a lot of code, that it's better for people to notice what is there. So this was only for the presentation purposes. We are using Dark normally, of course. Sorry for some Java vibes you could have some, but it was like, maybe it's not true, but yeah, we heard it's better to use this theme.
Yeah, we got such feedback after one presentation, but if you are going to give us another feedback, we will try something else.
Okay, so next one. Can I pass lambda to the IDs param in mark parameterize?
Yeah, I mean, it has to return a list which matches the number of this of the test, just for each to have it. Maybe it's even less. Maybe Pytest will automatically give something, but I'm not sure about it. But yes, if lambda returns the list, it's okay.
Okay. What are the use cases of the dynamic test creation and using Pytest metaprogramming? Seems like over-engineering.
Yes, for this example, for sure it is. We use that because it's like showing a lot of internals, I would say, about Pytest and how it works. And the use case, we are actually using that in this project, which Kamil mentioned, that we have already like about 90 projects. So Splunk has its own app. You can create app for Splunk, and we are, as a company, support some of these apps. So we have like 90 similar projects. Yeah, there are apps, so we have to follow similar rules, similar architecture. And actually, we have a framework which is giving test templates. And with this dynamic parameterization, dynamic creation of tests, usually we are just using these templates, and it's generating the correct tests for the project.
Yeah,
so there are use cases for that.
It's open source.
Yeah. I would say it's much more complicated what we already shown, and but if you want to deep in some Pytest complicated stuff, it's now nice to see this project.
I think the idea for this framework was to just write code, just write add-ons for our Splunk and automatically generate tests, and this for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of the plugins are closed source. They are not open source, but the framework itself is open source. So probably it's gonna be hard to find our example of using that. But yeah, there are of course other people also using that. So maybe
why string in commas in arg names and not the list of string?
I guess it's for parameterization, and it has to be like one. This is a Pytest. Pytest specific. I guess it cannot be at least as far as I can be.
Either or.
Yeah. So it can be.
Why using teardown function, not the space after being used?
So I think I showed that this teardown function is actually better and more safe. This teardown after yield sometimes can cause some troubles. might be not executed actually.
Is contest .py a magic name, or you need to specify it somewhere in the code?
It's a magic name. It's a magic name for Pytest.
Okay, so are the names of the hooks important, or does Pytest just give the params based on the param name?
Yeah, the hook name is important, and Kamil showed the list of the building hooks. Yeah, so these
There's a
are.
lot of things, yeah. And as I also showed, you can add your own.
Yeah, but when you're gonna add your own, you have to like specify the place this way where it's gonna hold and what param, something like that. But yeah, there are like the fixed names. You can add your own, but yeah, the name is important.
Okay, could you provide some link to GitHub repo with the employees?
I think not, because it's not also open source for now, I guess. Yeah, for now not. We're probably gonna open source it, so you have to probably look for JobSim because it was the name.
But if you were to open source it, would be under this Splunk group on GitHub or something else.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's probably gonna be on another one. Releasing something in the big company, security company like Splunk, it's not so easy. If you open source even the simple stuff, you have to have a linker approve. So I don't know if it's gonna be under Splunk or some private account.
Okay, and the last one. Did you have issues with running integration tests using Pytest XDist? If so, how did you handle them? Is that possible to mark tests to be run concurrently?
Yeah, this is complicated plugin. We had some troubles. Like for example, we had before XDist is being run, it can spin up processes or threads, and every process, for example, has to generate its own list of the tests, and all lists has to be the same. Just to have a list, and every process is gonna grab one from this list. And for example, if there are some randomization, these IDs or something, the Python is gonna broke, kinda. If you don't gonna use it, it's gonna work. And we tried to, before XDist itself is being run, we are doing some stuff in our framework, for example. We are running and generating some things. And yeah, we struggle with that on the different processes spin up with the XDist, these things were not run correctly or the same way. So actually, we see some strange errors with XDist, like it cannot, like on every process, generate the same list of tests. So for complex project, I would say there are some inside struggles. But here there is the question if one test can not be run concurrently. For sure it can. I don't know if Pytest, the XDist like automatically supports something like that. But you can, for example, create your own plugin just to move it from the list or do it something else with that. But it can be done.
Another thing I would like to add here, if you are running Pytest XDist, you should be very careful if you are running another Pytest plugin. You should check if it works correctly, because there could be many interactions.
Yeah, this is a huge topic about the interaction between these plugins. If you are using a lot of them, you might see that they are not working together correctly sometimes. They are touching the same hook function, and there is like kind of race or one plugin gonna do something which is wrong for another one, and there is a mismatch. So this is like the interaction between the plugins might be a problem.
Okay, and have you found a good way to add the default values to parameterized values?
Do you understand the question or
Not, I'm looking for a use case for that. I'm not
It's
sure.
more like the fact that if you have lots of parameterized options, you need to add just one, then you need to add this value to every single example. And if it's just like a list of arguments, it can be quite tedious. So like before, I've used like a name tuple, and you're instantiating this name tuple for all the arguments, and then you're splitting it up or something like this. But I'm wondering if you've found any other way of configuring this other than just lists of tuples or lists of lists?
Yeah, like
It's messy.
some function can be used just to generate these parameters, or this dynamic like internal Pytest stuff maybe to there add the value for that. It might be used.
That's it. What was this? What was the argument for parameters? Partial or no? It was the argument which you showed that then passes this list of parameters to a fixture. What was this called?
I mean, Pytest mark characterized the
Indirect.
Indirect. Yeah,
indirect.
this might not better. Then you
Okay.
put the defaults in there and just, yeah.
So in this case, I don't think I don't know if we can put a default.
It has to have all of the same size.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, in that test, in the last test. Okay. So here, out of my mind, I don't have an idea how to add the divisor. There is a question. Yeah, we can use some function just to return these values. There are some ways probably it can be done, but not a good solution.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you guys. Once again.